when we look at the lovely feminine, I am one, but the actual feminine of you too. So your body, and that's when you have your inner child adult. Otherwise, you don't actively have your capacity to always contain that which comes up. And suppression is not active coherence. So you don't own the feminine if you have a broken heart and you channel with it, which is why for the feminine here, 5D Mystic, Enlightenment Soul Age Group, I have information for those of you who are curious about the spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening, and twin flame or flames and soulmates and oversoul. So we'll see if we're going to keep this short, and then I'll do another episode because, FYI, it's Friday, and on Friday we have channeled guidance, but also because there's stuff going on, and ascension energies always bring shit up. But the shit is where feminine, right here, okay? Good body. Good body. Thank you for protecting me. Great. Good child. Thank you for protecting me. And good brain and mind and my relationships. This is what it's like to be a feminine. It's always gooey, ooey, ooey, because I don't have unfaced fear. I don't have this thing that Tara Brach talks about. We get possessed by painful emotions and we aren't able to be at home in ourselves. No, my home is quite clear, which is why when somebody says, no, well, it's hard to have inner harmony and follow it. Not really, not for all of us. I understand it is for you, but the blanket statement makes me think of the Elsa journeyman, so human beings who keep on just dragging these pain points around instead of using information and going to good therapy and then coming back around with emotions. But we do have a Zen master. He talks to you about laundry and how no one can be enlightened and enlightenment all the time. Now, he's really trying to tell you how not to fall for individuals that are the 7 to 14 charming, but he uses laundry, which makes me aware that he doesn't have a good relationship with his emotions, because I'm a feminine. So I'm like, oh, he just called sadness laundry. That's so sad. We get possessed by painful emotions and aren't able to be at home in ourselves. Let me think. How do I create distance so that I may not be vulnerable with sadness with myself? I use a different word from the actual word that it is. Yeah, that works. Okay, so if you look under any of these painful emotions, which happens in therapy, and then once you're ready to be mindful, you don't actually have to look underneath. You're like, oh, look, thoughts and emotions. Oh, look, I'm actively aware of the wisdom, not using the wisdom to project pain. Oh, no, what am I doing with the wisdom? Mindfully aware, focused attention, breathe. Okay, let me think. What is, awareness, maximum uncertainty. So again, I'm able to, sad. Sad is about connection. What am I doing? Oh, I'm going to accept what is. What is this? I'm being rejected. Okay, cool. So I don't need to actively keep on doing the laundry bit. No, unless under these painful emotions, we have shame, anger, depression, and that are where you find the roots of unfaced fear. Thank you, Tara Brock. Okay, I feel that I'm being rejected. This makes me sad, maybe angry. And I'm going to stop this right now because I'm getting irritated. Actively mindful living is none of where I'm going to have to do any of this. I just know, okay, I have emotions. Let me go find my bestie somewhere, whoever it is that's expanding. Because masculines there are that have feminines. There are besties. And that's all people who have a feminine. Okay, so that's why coherence, they are always fun. They don't bring their humbug. That's the number one. Masculines, feminines together don't bring humbug. When you see humbug, you got a Zen master with laundry. He doesn't know about Tara Brock's exercise video. And he also doesn't know how to do what Sadhguru knows. If no matter what is given to you, you can make something beautiful out of it, that is intelligence. Does anybody know about the depths of emotions and the wealth of feelings? Okay. If you do, great, you're going to enjoy IHP. If you don't and you want laundry, then you can go to the Zen master who gives you a way to distance yourself from the depth of your being. And I've seen people do good therapy and then say, I want to do personal development. I want like now. And I'm like, wow, you just made no use of what they taught you about your mindful name. Okay, that's why self-help doesn't work. So when people say self-help is bullshit and crap, yeah, it's because you don't know how to put it into practice. No, you do. You just decide to give up on the depth of experience of emotion, which I get it. Totally get it. Why? Oh, yes, I forgot. So as I was saying, the masculine and feminine, when they're whole, they actively know how to play and they co-create. Let's talk about spirit for a minute, shall we? And God and universe, Akash, all of that which is unavailable to be seen by the naked eye. Mystics and scientists, the true ones, actively are aware of the infinite. Anyone? Darkness. Oh, it's not a battle between good and evil. That's for the 4D plane to keep on hopping around in 3D. They keep liking to blame Lucifer for what is shame, blame, fault, revenge, and every unhealed childhood trauma out there in the year 2024. So when that happens, a 5D mystic, enlightenment, soul age group human being, this feminine right here, totally knows they got a broken heart. That trust break, big trauma, small trauma, could make use of good therapy. They actively like to go around like the squirrels of Cusco land and Elsa Journey mantles, because that fourth step to the recovery of trust breaks and trauma is actively finding bystanders, and that's what they've been doing. And now that I know what it is, I watch from afar, far away. Oh, you look so cute with your mantle, superheroes. Oh, you're doing a great job at saving. Yep. Keep doing pseudo-aliveness and go to courses and actively ignore what you're being taught because you don't notice what they're showing you, when instead somebody who's a feminine and a mindfulness and mindset content creator and mentor sees, I've seen pseudo-aliveness. It's not funny when you see it live. Oh, I've also seen live people who actively hold on to what is a toxic relationship, and then they make it make sense to them. Oh, and they go flaunting it around. And I know all about it. Thank you, Patrick Tihan. I tried. They actively ignored me, even tried to leverage that I cared about their mental health to get tarot card readings, and they still do it. So Ursula here is not Ursula. I actively know how to engage with a 3-year-old that has a broken heart, which has no 1-year-old either, which has a 16-year-old who thinks they know everything, but their unconscious, subconscious is completely not their ownership, which is why karma is their wheel. So when you are a feminine, this is what happens. You don't get bullshitted, because I can see from here, it's not a laser, it's actively an open heart, and your heart is open, and I'm an embodied brain, and so are you. And so I'm in my prefrontal cortex because I'm an empowered woman. I'm a true feminine, and a true masculine will know how to use this if they allow themselves to get out of their ego enough, which is really annoying and frustrating to feminine. We like to leave, Rabbi, and we don't want to stick around with people who don't know how to play. I don't like humbugs. They bore me, and they actively don't share anything of interest at a certain point. They just become basically what is it called? Not an intelligence. I'm going to leave that alone. So you'll know when it is not going to be a perfect match. Yes. Feminine and masculine. We expand and humble each other. And that's because we respect each other. So it's not going to be a match the minute that I'm not expanding consciousness. So intelligence, intellect, and emotional. You're not being humble. I am. And you actively are attitude now. And so I'm now needing to learn how to baby your ego so that I can get out of basically having anything to do with any of it, because I don't want to. I'm not your therapist. I'm a person, and I actively have empowerment, and then I have knowledge. So because I have knowledge, wisdom, and I'm equanimous, I am actively self-empowered, not going to tell you how to live your life, because that's your free will. You see? Robert, come on in. You may think you've disproved something. You don't actively have the capacity to disprove the minute that I've empowered you with information. Now what I have done is given you an option. It's called a choice point. It's your free will. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean it's going to be hard. Nobody talked about ease or hard. I'm talking about empowering the self of the brain and mind, and the mouth is used so that I may present. It doesn't have to be eloquent. I can do it like a piece of shit if I wanted to. The same thing will come out of my mouth because I know what I'm talking about. That's what it's called, to have an embodied feminine, masculine, and it's a whole brain. It's not intelligent because I'm intelligent. No, I'm actively called stupid because I lead with my gut. My feelings are first, but I'm not stupid enough to actively think that I'm the only one. I'm actively aware enough to know, yeah, my gut teaches me. Oh, I keep learning. And once my gut has learned something called your embodied brain and mind, I know your pattern. You know mine, but I know mine too, because I know myself. I'm a whole 3-year-old heart. And I'm Maria. And I'm not changing. And so, what do you want to do, Eric? Because I got a tail and I got a dad, and I ain't going to do any of, let me change myself like Grease. Really? You think that's what's going to happen? No, you have the wrong idea. You chose me. I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to do it playfully. And if you don't have humble, I won't humble you. I'll make sure to, because, here's where I do not like those gender stereotypes at all. I've been told, men, I'm a woman. I'm going to talk to the men out there. I find it highly disheartening. That's a good one. I find it highly disheartening that you allow yourselves to be dumbed down to the extent that you do. And I am going to leave it alone, because anytime I have tried to talk about this, I've been told that I'm a woman. And I'll back down like a woman will because of two aspects. Your ego keeps getting in the way. And I'm 4'9". And the minute that you get an angry man in the presence of you, because their ego will have been bursted, but they have the refusal of actively using two sides of their brain. And I have all the signs. I don't need Lucifer. I don't even need silverbacks. I'm speaking to a lovely generation. Men that don't know how to be men, leave them alone. Women that don't know how to be women, also leave them alone, because we are empowered with a lot of good information. So the ones who want to hang out at those ends of the spectrums, they are actively choosing ignorance. We don't need to name call anyone. Ignorance means there are 16-year-olds in the lead. It's called an adaptive child. And you will understand that unbridled self-expression is their choice. They think they're right already. They're not even in an interaction with you because they care to be there. They're in the yellow or red. It's an automaton. It's not an energy vampire dark, or it's a person who's actively cocky and doesn't even realize that their cockiness is stupidity, because they don't have the time to actively calm down enough to notice. But again, let me bring in Robert. That's why science is humble and feminine, because the first 2 years of your life, they're implicit. And anybody who says, I found it hard to believe, well, yeah, you know what? I'm going to leave now. So intelligence, it's heart, body, mind, and harmony. It is not, I find it hard to believe that attachment trauma information is letting me know that the first 3 years of my life, they are impacting my entire life. And that before I can get in any of visibility of me, because that adolescent brain, the 12 to 24, is when you will be having emotional spark. You're going to want to socially engage, and that's your second choice point, from the attachment system to your social system, and that's where you want novelty and creative exploration. And you're going to do things in a way that are not reasonable, because you also have a biochemistry that's changing. And the way that your brain is working is that it has, give me 1 second, because our lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel, he's really good at explaining the brain, interpersonal neurobiology, and just anything and everything about attachment, categories, not styles, and DID, dissociative identity disorder, and disorganized attachment. So there's no monsters in any human being body. Patrick McNamara, you can look him up. He's a neuroscientist, and I'm a mystic, so I already know there's no monsters, because I know of the different densities and energetic spectrums, and they're in your mind's eye. If only 4D took care of their body first before going on else's journey. But let's leave that alone. So an adolescent brain is driven to connect to others with depth of emotions. They do have the waves of emotions. I remember them. Learning how to navigate it was not hard for me, because I have a heart body and value body in Jesus and God, that I heard what they said. Not hard to do. Okay, so you choose. That's why when someone was saying it's hard, I said, no, it's not. And they were like, but I said, for you, maybe, I don't know. But for me, it's easy to choose to stay open-hearted, to understand unkindness. I was taught it. I made a conscious choice. Why is it hard to consciously choose to be a kind human being? It's not. So when people like to just do hearsay, some of us say no. Some of us are happy for real. You don't have to believe it. And when somebody turns around and they don't like it, it's okay. It's called projection. I've had it done to me numerous times. And it's actively not annoying anymore. It's more like, okay, I'm going. Ciao. See you later. Have a good time. Without the therapist that you could use to get out of that. But hey, let me not be the one to try and help you, because you obviously don't want to be helped. You'd rather do some gender stereotype or suffering stereotype than actively get your body and your heart on board. So you're feminine, nowhere to be found, as long as you have unresolved stuff going on. Once you're safe, you're seen, you're soothed, then you know how to repair ruptures, which means when you have arguments, I have a twin, so I have an excuse for why I know how to repair ruptures so easily. I was a child growing up. That's why Robert is important, because I was determined with luck. Yep, I am lucky. I'm lucky like that, but I did consciously choose how to keep treating other people. That's why I'm in the spirituality group. I treat others. I forget to mention it. Of course, I live on a planet with other people, and the world doesn't revolve around me. My gut still is what leads me, so I'm still stupid. And I'm okay with that. My stupid gut will lead me far, far, far away from anyone who doesn't know how to be fun, because I do like to have fun with young at heart brains, and those are the masculines. So they expand, and then they're humble, and they're full of beautiful information. And when they're mystics too, they know what we do, and then they come and they support us, and that's the pair that I'm talking about. We're going to talk about that next. We're going to end this one with the dopamine. So the adolescent brain is from 12 to 24. Okay, so they actively have a lot of those waves and emotions, and their social engagement. They also have a social system that comes online, so they want to be accepted by their peers. So that fear of inadequacy is what is going to get them to either choose their self or to choose to pretend to be someone else. So they either choose a false sense of self or they maintain authentic. I maintained Maria. I was not going to close my heart and say love, and I was not going to change who I was because other people were not serious about life. Why would I do anything not serious? I love life. That's why our love affair for feminine stays with life every 24 hours. The people who want to share with me, they're here. And they like me just the way I am. And they actively make me feel pretty. And so pretty, yes, that's a masculine and a feminine together. So when you're a differentiated self, you enjoy each other without judging at all. That's why we love, accept, respect, even the ones who have the toxic relationships, because it's only toxic because I'm looking at it. They have a way to make it look good. They don't know that their sympathetic is ruling their world. And, well, it's unfortunate because, again, that first 3 years of your life is what counts. But let me not be the bearer of good news. Luckily, again, the stories of masculines who are healing are out there. I've shared some with you. Again, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, so you're able to repair ruptures when they occur. The novelty seeking is that you shift in the dopamine system in the brain, and this is driven for reward. So it's what makes it more likely for addiction to happen during the adolescent age. So you can release, or it is that the brain is releasing levels that are higher. So he has a way he explains how dopamine is released. And through novelty seeking, you get these hits that are intermittent reinforcement. So here he's talking about why social media, we want to be aware. Okay, so once you understand how the adolescent brain works from a neuroscientific, neurobiological attachment self system, you can support adolescents to know, okay, let's moderate how this is working and empowering them by sharing with them the information, not telling them it's right or wrong. You say, here's what we have understood from the smart human beings, subject matter experts. And sometimes you don't even need to. As a parent, you can guide them. You can keep an eye and allow yourself to watch and just to notice. And if you notice any patterns that are maladaptive, you can try to take them as it comes. And if you need extra help, that's why we're heard. So we work together with teachers and professionals. Not all people are updated with this information, but we can create communities that talk and support. And again, the feminine nurtures the masculine too when they're actively masculines and feminines, because we understand free will, not shaming. Shaming are the people who were shamed, and they want a whip, and they actively think that inducing fear is what will have a person do shit. No, it's your survival mode, but we have two ends of the spectrum, so leave alone the ones who consistently want to shame, do revenge, and they basically have their survival mode on. Survival mode means their body is in distress, FYI, so we don't need to do anything again about that. The other part about the adolescent brain is that the hyper-rational thinking, they think that only positive outcomes can take place rather than negative ones. Catch me if you can. You're going to get caught and go to jail. Okay, so that's a very sad story. And that is why, again, adolescents higher at risk for addiction, the hyper-rational thinking, and the changing of the dopamine system, their understanding of why adolescents are truly at risk of dangerous behaviors. That's why I didn't trust any of the teenagers at a certain point. I'm like, okay, I know I don't trust any of you. I'm going to go and pick my herd based on who I notice actively knows how to do schoolwork, stays serious, doesn't do drugs and alcohol in this absurd way that is really bad for you, and talk about things you don't know anything about, and you spread rumors. And that was it. I didn't question. No, I made conscious choices because I noticed the stupidity that the grown-ups had advised us about. So I had good education, good child-centric environment, and it wasn't hard. And I didn't feel inadequate. I felt actively, why would I want to be around people who don't know how to lead life? I'm going to grow up. I want to make a difference. I'm not going to hang out with people who are going to be, I don't want to judge you because I learned how not to do that. But what are you doing? You're going to get sick. You're going to get older. Your liver is going to go out. I don't know what you're going to do when you're doing stupid shit. And then I got to be, what was it, in my 20s, 25. And I never forget, I was in a car with one of my friends, and this was in his worst time. This is the friend you know about that I didn't talk to for 5 years. And so in addition to the upside of novelty and courage, creative exploration is the fourth facet of the lovely adolescent brain. So thinking outside the box, and that's why the inner child adult is fun to be. So we are young at heart, the feminines with the masculines, and masculines with the feminines. And that's why we can make a new kind of world. And as one of these adolescents tells Dr. Daniel Siegel, he's like, maybe it's because the grown-ups have lost their essence, because Dr. Dan likes acronyms. So essence is emotional spark, social engagement, novelty, creative exploration, so that you can remember it. For some reason, it doesn't click yet for me, but it's just funny because this teen who's hearing about the adolescent brain, he says, so the grown-ups, they've lost their essence, and that's why they're jealous of us for having what they've lost. And that's why they hate teenagers, which is a really strong word, but that's how teenagers feel. That's why the 14, 15, 16, the fight response spites the parents. The sad thing, trigger warning, if you don't want to hear about when suicide stuff happens, okay? So fast forward 2 minutes. But when teens are 14, 15, 16, if they do kill themselves, it's to spite the parent and or parents and or the system. The 11, 12-year-old, the flight, it's because they feel invisible. And this is sad because when they are cutting, that's why the good therapists don't want to send them with other teens, because then they're going to encourage each other to do something. And I remember us getting taught about cutting. And the day after they taught us, all these girls, it was girls that 2 of them caught my eye, they had completely taken the information to then implement what was cutting themselves. And then I was like, but wait a minute. They just learned about it. So is this a cry for help or not? And I don't remember if I was able to take it to someone, because you know how kids, don't be a tattletale, or if I just wondered it, probably kept an eye on it. I remember one of the girls' names, and I think I talked to her about it. But my point in my brain, I was like, that doesn't make sense. You just got taught. Why don't you go to the adult and tell them what's going on? So adults who have maintained their essence, the essence brain, raise your hand. We have healthier brains, more robust lives. Thank you, Dr. Dan. We need the passion of the emotional spark. We need each other for connection, that we have social engagement. He's saying why the adolescent brain is good. We need each other for the courage of our novelty seeking, and we need to work in this essence way to actually have an imagination to try on new things. So the essence of our adolescent brain is when we can get in touch with the plane of possibilities. And so it's where you can get in touch with passion, the ability, again, to connect each other. And so, thanks, Dr. Dan. As we conclude, again, a feminine and masculine, they expand and humble each other, and they bring forth intelligence from within you, because your heart and body and your mind are in harmony. And I do, as a mystic, say divine feminine, divine masculine, masculine feminine, and as a mentor and content creator, because there's different ways that we talk about all of these beautiful topics. But what I want to conclude with is, when we have our counterparts, we'll know who it is, because they will expand each other and they will be humble. And that means they do not in any way, shape, or form come at me, at I or you, with a disrespectful tone. The minute I got a teenager in the room and they're not an actual grown-up adolescent brain, I'm going to know. I got a Cusco. And it's going to be because of what comes up next. So the minute that behavior is in the room, I got an adaptive child, maladaptive, I got a rigid brain who's going to go rigid, chaotic. It don't matter. In either case, it won't expand me. It won't be humble, and it will actively be the left mode ego and non-bilateral integrated human being who is actively not participating with me. I got a 3-year-old with a broken heart, a 1-year-old who's not attached, a human being who's a teenager in fight response who's fighting whatever it is that's happening inside them. And so not only are they spiting their own 3-year-old for staying at home, their own 1-year-old, they're actively also upset at what they didn't get. And let's stop blaming Lucifer for unkind behavior, because it's all unconscious and it's all subconscious, and that's why determined with Robert is important. And that's why we share information, so that one can be empowered with it. And then you can choose. Now you can consciously choose what you want to do. You know how many people actively do anything with what I just shared with you? Maria, I want a tarot reading. Really? What's going on? I'm busy right now. Well, so I'm just making up shit, but at the same time, these things have happened. And at a certain point, when I notice that some people are actively beginning to be on a bit of a loop in a way that isn't positive, I say, this isn't really what cards are for. And this isn't what the guidance is for. It was very straightforward with you. So I'm going to tell you a deal because I don't do this unless we're doing personal development consistently like this. And this has gone from, can you give me some solace and support, to I'm actively wanting to check in and do things that are unnecessary. I say, here's my colleagues. They actually do the love stuff as a profession. You can go to them. I know plenty of them. And then that's it, because they're actually people who do only love, and some people will pay. And that's when you know you don't have a feminine or a masculine. You have a person who could make use of knowing why their inner world is the way it is, and then they could get out of it. That's a side note. Feminine and masculine, we expand each other. When we're mystics on both ends, we know how to make positive use of the collaboration of good therapists and good holistic practitioners and good mystics. Good not because we're good boy, good girl. No, we are professionals who care. So as a content creator, I'm still also professional, and at the same time a human being who cares about human beings. It's called inspiring human potential for a reason. And I don't use all my words effectively, but some of them I choose them on purpose. No, I choose all my words on purpose. I just don't use a dictionary. So when someone's a dictionary police, they're going to find themselves lost, but that's okay, because I'm not here for half a brain. So if you don't have your feminine, you're half a brain, because you're going to be an ego, and I'm going to know how to fund Cusco's, and you're not going to know any of it. And that's not necessarily you, but even if it were, the thing is, I know you won't know anything, because ears that can't hear distort information. I'm not here to tell you who to be or what to be. So whatever distortion comes out of it, you're putting on, one, a mask on me. Two, I'm going to notice what it is, because three, you're going to take actions based on that behavior and that thought pattern. So you're going to come clean, even if you don't want to. And I'm going to notice again if you're a Pacha or Cusco. And I won't need to tell you, because see, that's what the feminine knows. My gut tells me everything. My heart tells me everything. My mind whispers to me, and I get to have a whole brain, and I know how to expand me. So I'm going to make out of all shit. All of shit is going to be flowers. And at a certain point, I will notice that if I'm saying, hey, you know what this is? I got it from your yard. I'm not sure. Did you throw it at me, or did you actively lose it maybe? I'm going to engage with you because I want to figure out what's happening. I don't assume to know you. I'm curious. Again, I'm safe to be a human, and you're a human. No matter if you got dead eyes or not, you're still a human. I'm going to talk to you. And on that note, again, feminines, masculines, we expand each other, and we also are humbled thanks to each other. Sciences and spirituality, they humble each other for the 5D collective. They don't disprove each other. 97% of what is out there is unavailable. That's why we got flat earthers, okay? So mystic here, I'm grounded though. And overflowing with that lovely humanity is why intelligence, it's called integration of the brain. It's called your pure consciousness. It's called unconditional love, and it's called functional adult. In a restorative embodiment, you can be self-aware, accountable, and regulating. Come on over, and we're going to have another episode in a little bit on the lovely twin flame and flames and just oversoul, just to close on out our day. So again, heart, body, mind, harmony is really fun, and I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. If you don't stop by again, like, share, and do subscribe if you do want more of this content, and if you know of people who are spiritual and or mindful and in the 5D vibration, so they know sciences and spirituality come together, and that we have Cusco's out there with mantles who we're going to get to make fun. We're going to go, hey, where's Waldo? And I don't usually use names. I just use fake stories from Disney and all that so that we can have fun. And then I use my stories, my personal Maria stories. I have a good time. So we're going to talk some more about that one in a little bit. Thank you again for stopping by. Have a good one.